It is an undisputed fact that today's band was a revelation when they first came out in the 70s. Man, they interrupted disco and they took radio hostage with a throwback rock sound that was completely their own, thanks to their versatile singer and guitarist, one of the best ever. But after a spectacular debut, their sophomore album was a failure. It faltered on the charts and they were back to square one. Now, determined to get back on top and not be known as a one-hit wonder, today's legendary singer heard a song on the radio that blew his mind. That song set into motion arguably his best work. His new album was close to perfection, but he was so meticulous about it, he actually erased the title track from the track list right before the album came out. And then he erased his own brother's contributions from the final mix. This caused a bitter fallout between the brothers and bandmates. In fact, they haven't spoken in almost 45 years. The record has some incredible artistic risks, including dead air. It made DJs panic. Next, story of one of the most cinematic records ever put to vinyl. Here it is. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Just talking about this the other day with my kids. Where have all the great songs gone? Turned on the radio in the 80s and every song was really good, and now not so much. And today's band is a great example of that. Dire Straits, a group renowned for its captivating blend of musical genres and masterful guitar artistry. It's one of the most distinctive of the rock era. We've talked about them so many times on here. They're one of my favorites. Among their many inspired tracks, Tunnel of Love and Skate Away stand out as emblematic examples of the band's exceptional musicianship and really evocative lyricism. Those two songs, both featured on the 1980 album Making Movies, not only showcase leader Mark Knopfler's virtuosic skills, but also evoke escapism, romance, and complexities of modern life. There were only 3 cuts on side 1 of Dire Straits' brilliant Making Movies LP, but those 3 songs created nearly 21 minutes of the most powerful musical theater ever recorded. Go listen. First act on Making Movies, of course, the epic Tunnel of Love. The first time Mark Knopfler heard the lead guitar riff by James Burton on Ricky Nelson's A Little Too Much, he was hooked. 10 years of age, the Newcastle lad was determined to become a guitar virtuoso. But this young man had to be patient and, seize the right opportunity to pursue his aspiration. When Mark was only 15, he found employment as a copy boy for the hometown periodical, The Evening Chronicle. At the same time, he got his first guitar. Now, it wasn't the Fender Stratocaster that he pleaded with his father to buy him, but beggars can't be choosers. His father, he could barely scrounge enough money to buy his son a Hofner Super Solid guitar, so that's what he had. Even though it wasn't the object of his desire per se, Mark was eternally grateful to have any guitar so he could start forging his path into music. During the mid-'60s, Mark hitchhiked his way around England and throughout Europe, jammed with local bands, along the way for food and board. In 1968, he studied journalism for a year at Harlow College, and he became a junior reporter for the Yorkshire Evening Post. All this happened while he was living in Leeds. All the while he was a student, he learned from other musicians that he came in contact with, including country blues performer Steve Phillips. It was Phillips who gave him a crash course in the blues that would forever shape him as an artist. In 1970, Mark Knopfler recorded his first demo with a song he wrote entitled Summer's Coming My Way. It was the official spark for his inevitable rise to greatness. Feel him smile, used to say good. 73 was a pivotal year for Mark Knopfler. This is when he met veteran session drummer David Pick Withers. These two musicians played together in a pub group that was named Brewer's Droop. They also shared a flat. Mark and Pick, they then teamed up with bassist John Ilsley and Mark's brother David Knopfler to form Cafe Racers. While rehearsing in the kitchen of their friend Simon Cow of Lindisfarne, Pick came up with the idea to change the band's name to Dire Straits. Of course, a term that meant to be in a state of desperation or extreme distress. And the name fit the band perfectly because they were, as the Southern expression goes, as poor as a church mouse. Dire Straits' fortunes dramatically improved, though, when they were signed to Vertigo Records in the UK and Warner Brothers in the US, and they released their self-titled debut album, happened in 1978. The record was a multi-platinum monster, of course. It featured the number 4 smash Sultans of Swing. I mean, they interrupted the disco movement, as it were. Dire Straits then followed up their sensational debut with Communique. It was a really solid record, but it fell far short of its predecessor. Now, the lead single from Communique was Lady Rider. Cool song, but it couldn't get over the hump. It stiffed at number 45. And then the second single, Once Upon a Time in the West, that failed to chart altogether. The backslide of Communique, it was crushing for Mark Knopfler. He was deeply concerned that the band had lost their zeal. He felt the reason why sales had declined for Communique was because the record was rushed. It was kind of uninspired and pretty predictable, at least in his mind. But Mark was determined to find the inspiration for rejuvenation, something that would define the psyche of Dire Straits' third album. As we've learned, inspiration, it strikes when you least expect it. Very unpredictable. You can't just sit down with a pen and paper and say, all right, inspire me. That's why the pursuit can be so frustrating for an artist, but when they find that inspiration, it is so thrilling, oh so sweet. One day, Mark Knopfler was just casually listening to the radio, and he heard Because the Night by Patti Smith. Just a song oozing with passion that was co-written by Patti and, of course, the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Mark was so riveted by this song that he reached out to the song's producer, legendary hitmaker Jimmy Iovine. Springsteen really struggled to complete Because the Night. It was supposed to go on Darkness on the Edge of Town, one of my favorite albums ever. Came out in 1978. But all Bruce had was the title and some incohesive lyrics. And that's when Jimmy Iovine stepped in and started to guide the song to prominence. He really wanted to deliver a hit song for Patti Smith, and he believed, with some lyrical construction, that Because the Night could be what he was searching for. Bruce Springsteen agreed to let Jimmy run with the song and the team of Smith, Springsteen, and Iovine, and they developed the track into an international hit that went to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, also went to number 5 in the UK. Not only did Iovine produce Patti Smith's Because the Night, he was also at the helm with Bruce for his Born to Run album and Darkness on the Edge of Town. There's a darkness on the edge of town. Mark, he really loved the intensity and the emotional arrangement of Because the Night. He felt the song had the qualities that he wanted to incorporate in the next round of songs for Dire Straits. And the best person to achieve the atmosphere that he imagined was, in fact, Jimmy Iovine. Mark was well aware of Iovine's enviable credentials, and he was an ardent admirer of Springsteen's work as well. Jimmy Iovine agreed to take on the project to produce making movies for Dire Straits. His first shrewd maneuver was enlisting Roy Bittan, the revered keyboard player, the professor of Springsteen's E Street Band. Roy brought a lot more to the recording sessions for making movies than just skillful keyboard playing. He brought an evocative style and an instinct to complement Mark Knopfler's reflective lyrics and vocal realism that helped to create an intoxicating cinematic revelation. I just can't say enough about this record. He heard similarities between Knopfler and Springsteen's approach to song composition and making records. Roy recalled that both Knopfler and Springsteen took their time to capture the emotion that they wanted to express and to really paint a picture. He remembered that the songs for making movies could not really be, classified as being straightforward by any means. I mean, there were subtleties of emotion that were really special. That reminded him of the boss. Roy's contribution to making movies was immediate, from the first note on track number 1 on side 1 of the album, performing an interesting arrangement on a Hammond organ of the Carousel Waltz, of course from the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Carousel, as the opening instrumental piece for Tunnel of Love. It's just a brilliant touch. As the record slowly fades in, Tunnel of Love ushers us into sonic reverie, a world where hauntingly beautiful melodies intertwine with wistful storytelling. Mark Knopfler's guitar lines spin chapters of a longing and melancholy, drawing us into the enigmatic tunnel of love where emotions are as unpredictable and breathtaking as the twists and turns of an amusement park ride. The lyrics that Mark wrote for Tunnel of Love unravel the complexity of relationships and the fragility of the human heart. I mean, Mark sings about a fleeting romantic encounter in a tunnel of love. I mean, speaking of Springsteen, he would pen a song with the same title in 1987 for his album Tunnel of Love, one of my favorites ever. They definitely inspired each other.
Ride down, baby, into this tunnel of love. Yeah, sing about the six-blade, sing about the switch.
You know, Mark Knopfler's narrative, Tunnel of Love, starts with a clever metaphor where he sings about getting crazy on the waltzers. A waltzer is a flat carnival ride often found in fairs and amusement parks in parts of England and Ireland. Mark compares his life in music as being a waltzer, singing about six blades and singing about switchbacks and a torture tattoo.
And a torture tattoo, and I've been riding on a ghost train.
He reminisces about a fleeting romantic encounter where he and a complete stranger take a low ride together on the Tunnel of Love at the Spanish City, a park located in the British seaside town of Whitley Bay. The memory is vivid, recalled with a fervent rhythm of rock and roll intensity. But in the song's bridge, he slowly and tenderly zooms in for closer, deeper reflection. Girl, it looks so pretty to me like it always did, like the Spanish City to me when we were kids.
The Spanish City to me when we were kids.
Tunnel of Love is an irresistible vortex that pulls us deep into a journey through the dark corridors of love's mysteries. Along the journey, there's adventure, loss, and of course, wonder. The theatrical exhilaration of Tunnel of Love was splendidly dramatized in the pivotal jukebox scene in the 1982 movie An Officer and a Gentleman, starring Richard Gere and Deborah Winger. I mean, just an outstanding placement, where the song truly enhances the emotional power of the scene.
Like it all.
What are you doing here?
The outro of the track is arguably the members of Dire Straits at their finest, along with the swirling keyboard riffs of special guest Roy Bittan, the Professor. Knopfler's 2-minute guitar coda on Tunnel of Love is a standard bearer on how to build a solo from just a few gentle notes into a thunderous cascade, really, of sonic alchemy. Mark Knopfler, he was in the Big Apple in 1979, adding guitar overdubs for Steely Dan's Gaucho album. He was fascinated by the bold skaters who slip and slide through the chaotic bumper-to-bumper traffic there. It's kind of a fad, lost art in the late 70s and early 80s that poured out from the roller discos of New York City. The concrete jungle of Manhattan became the dance floor. It was the brazen serpentine movement of the street skaters that triggered the idea for Mark to write the song Skate Away, the track that became Act 3 on side 1 of Making Movies.
One-way corridor, stealing down the wrong way.
Inspired by the fearlessness of the skaters, darting in and out of traffic and driving the taxi drivers nuts, Mark Knopfler wrote a love letter to independence and really forging your own path here.
Here she comes, Queen Roller Ball.
The protagonist of Skate Away is Roller Girl, who refuses to follow a conventional path, stealing down a wrong-way street. No fears alone at night, she's sailing through the crowd.
No fear alone at night, she's sailing through the crowd.
The city's been rude to her, But her revenge is torturing taxi drivers just for fun. She lets the drivers know that she will be back by giving them an attack warning from World War II. She says, "Toro, Toro, taxi, see you tomorrow, my son."
See you tomorrow, my son. Just let a big truck grease her hip.
It's rebellious escapism that's put to music, like living the rock and roll dream, punctuated by one of the most poetic Mark Knopfler lyrics ever put down. The music makes her want to be the story, and the story was whatever was the song, what it was.
And the story was whatever was the song, what it was.
Once again, Mark uses a real-life experience as a metaphor for the bigger picture. The world is what you make it. You can roll through life in a mechanical, dictated fashion, or you can blaze your own trail and accept the consequences because it's your decision, your reality, not someone else's.
Slipping in the slide. Yeah, life's a rollerball.
In Tunnel of Love, life is like an amusement park, but in Skate Away, life's a rollerball. Now, the MTV generation hadn't yet arrived, but Dire Straits was on the cutting edge of music video production by making a sophisticated video that's striking cinematography.
She tortures taxi drivers just for fun. It's like
Tunnel of Love began its cinematic rise with the playing of Roy Bittan. Skate Away, it fades in with the crescendo of a pulsating bass drum line, played by Pick Withers. Withers' percussion created a hypnotic pulse that simulated the rhythm of roller skating wheels rumbling on asphalt. Throughout the song, Pick executes steady, in-the-pocket precision. There's a fibrous edge to Pick's drumming at the behest of Jimmy Iovine and Shelly Yakus. Now, this is most evident in the call and response with Knopfler's guitar in the middle of the song.
Kenny, shoot on him, no, no, no.
Pick explained that they used Remo Diplomat coated drum heads on the drum kit for the recording of Skate Away. They used them for 3 takes and then they removed them. The arduous process of applying torque keys was used to add tension to the track. Pick said the process was a murder, but well worth it to produce the sound that they wanted.
In a rock and roll station, in a rock and roll.
As usual, Mark Knopfler's guitar work was dazzling with his gifted finger picking on Skate Away. But bassist John Illsley, also brilliant. There was a great camaraderie between Illsley's bass riffs and Withers' layered percussion. It held the rhythm of the song together throughout the track. It left enough vocal space for Knopfler to deliver his unique, gruff narrative style with a natural cadence.
Skate Away, that's all.
Making Movies, it's a rare example of an album taking its title from a song that did not make the final cut. Although there is a reference to Making Movies on location in the lyrics for Skate Away, there was an actual track that was called Making Movies. Made up one of 4 outtakes that did not make the record. At the last second, they pulled it out. The others were Suicide Towers, Sucker for Punishment, and Twisting by the Pool. That was eventually put out as a single. Twisting by the Pool actually cracked the top 20 in several countries, including the UK, and it shot to #1 in New Zealand. As a throwback to the chubby checker dance craze of the 50s, Twisting by the Pool did not fit the aura of Making Movies. But it's a whole lot of fun, especially during the summertime. Very cool song. Now, the recording sessions for Making Movies, they were artistically fulfilling in so many ways for Dire Straits, but they were also marred by fierce tension between the Knopfler brothers. Now, Mark felt his younger brother lacked commitment. He was constantly feeling the strain of sibling rivalry with him. The disagreements, they got so intense that David flat out quit the band, which seemed to liberate Mark and help to complete the record to everyone's gratification. And actually, David Knopfler is uncredited for Making Movies. His rhythm guitar parts were subsequently performed by session musician Sid McGuinness. And to think of it, he was also uncredited. Anyway, sad thing is, since David exited Dire Straits back in the day, he has not spoken to his elder brother that we know of. There are cousins from the offspring of Mark and David that have involuntarily been separated from knowing each other at all. Making Movies, that was released in October of 1980. It was a slow builder, but it went on to sell more than 5 million units around the world. The album, it didn't, yield a hit song like Sultans of Swing or Money for Nothing.
That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free.
I think Skate Away is one of Dire Straits' best songs, and I think what kept it from being a bigger hit was the silence in the beginning of the song. I mean, it caused a panic response from DJs because of that dead air, and it definitely cost the song radio play and further chart success. But there's an endearing, sentient power that makes Making Movies a masterful recording, one of my favorites, especially with this episode's spotlight tracks. The cinematic grandeur and gripping melancholy of Tunnel of Love, and really the seductive soundscape of Skate Away, where freedom and desire beautifully collide. The effect of those two songs reach further than just a few minutes of enjoyment. Magically, the music puts us right in the stories, with an arrow through our hearts and through our souls. And the songs become the stories of our lives. Thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about Dire Straits and Making Movies, and these two beautiful tracks, just standouts. What are your memories of these songs, of this album? Let's have a great discussion below. I just think it's some of their best work. What do you think of Dire Straits? What's your favorite as well? If you like our content, we'd love to have you. Subscribe below. Until next time, 3 chords.